In this video, I will show you the purl stitch. This is the second most basic stitch in knitting after the knit stitch. The main difference in how you set yourself up for making the purl stitch compared to the knit stitch is that you have to hold the working yarn, the strand that goes to your ball of yarn, in front of your work, so coming towards you, not behind like you would with the knit stitch. Be sure to keep it in front. Just like with the knit stitch, you will be holding the stitches that have already been knit on your right needle and the stitches that need to be knit on your left needle. Knitting the purl stitch will also look a bit different depending on whether you hold the working yarn in your right hand or your left hand. I will show both styles in this video, starting with English style, holding it in your right hand. Before you start, you need to secure your working yarn to keep a good tension. I do this by wrapping the yarn around my pinky. Be sure to keep the yarn in front. First, insert your right hand needle into the first stitch on the left needle by inserting the needle through the first loop right to left. Let's see that again. We just stick the right needle through the first loop on the left needle from right to left. Next, you wrap the working yarn around the tip of your right needle, going counterclockwise. Then pull the right needle back and towards the right, pulling the working yarn through the loop on the left needle. Finally, slip the stitch off the left needle. You have worked that stitch and it is now on your right needle. Let's go through that again. You stick your right needle through the loop on the left needle, wrap the yarn around the tip of the right needle counterclockwise, pull the working yarn through the loop, and slip the stitch off. One last time. Stick the needle through, wrap the yarn around, pull the yarn through, and slip the stitch off. Now let's take a look at the purl stitch when worked continental style, holding the yarn in your left hand. This will look quite a bit different, but what is key is that you keep the working yarn in front of your work. It looks different, but the steps are pretty much the same. First, stick the right hand needle into the first loop on the left needle from right to left. Then, in order to pick up the working yarn with your right needle, drop your left pointer finger down, trapping the working yarn between your needles. Then pick the working yarn through the loop, pulling it towards the back and to the right. Then finally slip the stitch off your left needle. One more time, you insert your right needle through the loop on the left, going from right to left, drop your pointer finger down, pick up the yarn with your right needle, pull it through the loop, then slip the stitch off the needle. I'll finish this row using English style because that is the style that I usually knit. Now we can take the needle with the fabric on it in our left hand to start a new row. When you start knitting a new row of purl stitches, it is especially important that you keep your working yarn in front of your needles. If you have it at the back, then you will accidentally add a loop to your work, so you'll end up with extra stitches. So make sure you keep the working yarn in front. Then you can just repeat the steps we just covered. Insert the right needle, wrap the yarn around, pull the working yarn through, slip the stitch off the left needle, and repeat.